Africa was mentioned in several earlier videos, from inventing cooking to Egyptian civilization. Humans started here, with Homo erectus cooking and arguably making us big-brained humans. The earliest attempt at civilization might have been in the Green Sahara, only to be stopped by global warming. Egypt was part of the Fertile Crescent success story. North Africa was on the Mediterranean, with Carthage a civilization just great enough to be an enemy of the Romans and ending in ruins. Trade was more important than war, but like fist over scissors, the result was destruction. Cleopatra and Carthage became the villains when the victorious Romans wrote the history. The Berbers lived in North Africa, were generally nomadic, but many did settle in villages to farm and herd livestock. More on them later. Below Egypt was Nubia, competitor, sometime vassal state, and one time a conqueror. The kingdom of Punt was further south, possibly Somalia. Mali was a later empire with Timbuktu in the center trading with camel caravans. Timbuktu should be on the intrepid explorer's bucket list. States around modern Ethiopia, basically the Horn of Africa, developed a trade in frankincense by the 7th century BCE, later part of the Southern Arabian trade network. Herodotus described the kingdom of Macrobia, now in Somalia, as a regional power in the 5th century BCE. The area developed glass, copper manufacturing, and trade. Iron was later smelted in several locations. Before the discovery of the New World, most gold used in Europe came from West Africa. Aksum in Ethiopia was a later major trading center between Rome and India, beginning in the 1st century of the Common Era. Several other kingdoms and empires developed in Africa, but much later. Muslims conquered virtually all of North Africa and spread south.
A tropical rainforest stretched across Central Africa. Yams, along with bananas, plantains, and sorghum, were the major crops. Market centers included Timbuktu, among others, part of the long-distance trade routes, exporting ivory, iron, salt, and copper. Cattle and sheep herding were common in South Africa. Bantu tribes swept in much of the continent, including the Zulu. Some Bantu groups picked up cattle raising and pastoral culture. A modern source of West African food traditions is searching for the sources of African American foods and customs. These came from the original homelands and suggested innovations available even in the harsh land that Europeans considered primitive. Okra, sorghum, watermelons, and yams had African beginnings. Stay tuned. Africa was our last stop about the ancient world. Now it's on to the Middle Ages. In the history books, this is mainly a European story about kings and wars. Not our main focus. We'll spend time on feudalism, peasants, and monasteries, plus the importance of Islam. Food technology, which continued during the Middle Ages, remains the central focus on food history and mystery.